Welcome back to Get Up in a YouTube segment. Look, we've still got our star-studded crew from today, and we're diving deeper into the football conversation, going to those win totals. Let's head to the NFL's Wild Wild West and look at the AFC Conference. Bart, we got our win totals from DraftKings this week, and the AFC West has the Chiefs at 10.5, the Chargers at 10.5, and the Broncos, who were the 1 seed and hosting an AFC Championship game, at 9.5. Of these three teams, which one are you most confident will hit the over in their win total next season?
For me, it's KC. I think, revenge is a dish best served cold, and I think that's what they're going to do. You see the bat signal being put up in the air by Patrick Mahomes, giving up $43 million to create salary cap space. I think maybe a reunion with Tyreek Hill, putting the band back together a little bit when you add a little bit more additions. I think you move on maybe if you're smart from a person like Travis Kelce, but
you'd say that's a smart move.
I would go get a guy
trying
like
to get over 10 wins. You'd say Kelce, we're good.
A guy like Isaiah Likely, I think, provides you that run after the catch, that athletic tight end, and some fresh blood. So I would definitely go Kansas City.
I would be surprised if the Chiefs were the ones to tell Kelce it's time. That said, anything is on the table, especially with Kelce at this stage in his career. Mike T, what do you think of the Chiefs, and what do you think of these other teams?
Well, I like Kansas City, but I don't like him at 10.5 because I think Patrick Mahomes is going to take some time to come back from a really big injury. I think they'll get better as the season goes along, and they have a big checklist. If we're sitting here in August and they have a new running back and they have a new receiver and they have Isaiah Likely and they've been able to replace Jawan Taylor, then I'm all for it. But that's a big list right now. To me, it's the Chargers and the Broncos have surpassed the Chiefs, and which is something I haven't been able to say in about a decade.
Sure. D-Wood, I look at this Broncos team, 9.5 wins. They host a playoff game, then they go to host an AFC Championship game, and they don't have their starting quarterback. And now they're being told you're the third in your division. Your reaction to that placement?
Yeah, I mean, listen, we saw what Bo Nix meant to that team. Just getting competent quarterback play, even with the adverse conditions in that game, what it meant to the Denver Broncos. That defense is I think is going to be elite. They're going to have a lot of players back. But for me, I like the Chargers. I do. I think when the Chargers get those tackles back, that is going to be some of the most impactful additions that any team is going to have. And then Mike McDaniel's a new offensive coordinator to go along with Justin Herbert. To me, I think the Chargers are going to be the team in the AFC West.
I think the Herbert conversation this whole offseason is going to be fascinating. He had another dazzling regular season. He was actually he got an MVP vote in the MVP voting. And yet playoffs, they lose 16-3. He doesn't play anything close to what he's been. To your point, out with 2 tackles. The Herbert of it all. Is this the year you think Herbert now gets over the hump?
Yeah, and I'll give you another reason. Omarion Hampton, he was hurt a year ago. I really like him. Rookie last year out of North Carolina. So take Slater, take Joe Alt, and now all of a sudden bring back Hampton with Mike McDaniel, power running game, play action, be more explosive. So I've always been a big Justin Herbert guy. It does start with the 2 tackles, but Omarion Hampton will be a big key for them.
But unfortunately, that's been the narrative for this team, the injuries. Every year, they find new ways to get injured and not be able to make it. I feel like they're the West and AFC version of the Lions. That's what they do. They get hurt, and it's a disappointing season. I think they definitely have to go get a number 1 wide receiver as well for Justin Herbert, to be able to kind of take the top off the defense, somebody they can depend on as well.
Interesting. Let's go to the NFC West, because that division was absolutely stacked last year with 3 teams going to the playoffs, the Seahawks, the Rams, and the 49ers. Many would say that NFC West battle between the Seahawks and the Rams in the divisional round or the conference championship may have been for the Super Bowl. All those teams have totals set at the same number, 10.5. So I start with you, Mike T. Which of these teams do you think has the best chance to go over that win total?
I'm going to go with Seattle from a standpoint of I think they could get better. You look at the regular season offense, they were somewhat average. And Kenneth Walker, good, 31 catches. Zach Charbonnet, good, only 20 catches. I think they can get more explosive play in the passing game from maybe drafting a running back. And if they do that, I think this offense, KJ Barner, another year, I think it could actually be better. And this defense, to me, is going to be stifling again.
Yeah, what do you do with the Kenneth Walker of it all? It's a running back. He's a free agent. Do you franchise tag him? Do you pay him the $12, $13 million that he might get on the open market? Such a tough call because he was so good in the playoffs.
I would just go get another running back.
Yeah.
Because the thing about, Kenneth Walker III, he doesn't offer much in the passing game. This league is so reliant on, being multidimensional. And so for me, yes, he came on, but we also forget, Zach Charbonnet, he was his equal, but he got hurt, and so the load fell on him. I would just go get another running back.
I mentioned that in the NFC West, you had these teams, and the feeling was whoever wins Rams Seahawks is going to have a dominant performance over the Broncos or the Patriots. Do you think the winner of this division next year is the Super Bowl favorite?
I think they'll be right there, and I think that team is going to be the Los Angeles Rams. You talk about, their deficiencies were really on the outside as far as when you think about not being able to stop the pass in the corners and the defense secondary. They're going to have 2 first-round draft picks, and you talk about in a world where the general manager say, forget them draft picks.
Yep, that's good. Forget them. Yep.
Maybe he uses those. Maybe he uses that to go get a trade for a lotto stud. Maybe he goes to get a Max Crosby or somebody like that. So I think they're going to push all the chips to the middle of the table because they know this is probably the last season for Matthew Stafford.
Probably is Stafford's last year. I would add there's been a lot of coaching changes in the NFC West, with coordinators and different positions. And Seattle losing not only Kubiak, but Andrew Janocko, who was one of their top offensive coaches. Both of those guys going to the Raiders. I look at that stuff. How much does the coaching losses for Seattle impact their team?
Yeah, it's not ideal because you want to get in a situation where it's the Seattle Seahawks offense, much the way we saw the New England Patriots for a long time. It was Charlie Weiss, Josh McDaniels, and there was continuity because of Dante Scarnecchia, and maybe they're not quite there yet. I do like Brian Flores, somebody I work with in Miami. I think he'll do a good job. The other interesting aspect to me, guys, is when we look at this, and you mentioned about, the Chargers with Alton Slater. You look at the 49ers, right? They're going to get back Fred Warner, Michael Williams, who was a first-round pick.
Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa.
And Nick Bosa. Like, those are 3 potential blue-chip players.
And George Kittle, who missed the playoff, right? Because he got hurt in the big game.
I think one of the stories has been underreported. What happens to Brandon Ayuk? Like, how does he change the
What is Ayuk's market?
The
like,
scale?
would you want Ayuk?
To me, at the right price, like we got guys like say Antonio Holmes, Braylon Edwards, Antonio Cromartie. Give them risk reward. Unlike these premium prices.
And it's interesting. John Lynch basically said he will not be with us.
Right. So if you're a team that needs a receiver, Baltimore, Buffalo, and you can get a player that's been an A player, maybe at a little bit of a discount. Look, someone's not going to get A.J. Brown, and someone like Brandon Ayuk might get really good value.
We started off this segment talking about win totals. We end with where will Brandon Ayuk end up in the free agent market or be traded for? That's the beauty of these segments. YouTube, we go off the rails and we have some fun. Thank you for watching. Get Up is on every day. You know where to find us on ESPN.